I'm John Seacott, executive editor of the Brewer Magazine, thebrewermagazine.com. Thanks for joining us for another Brewer Magazine podcast. Always loving to be able to get some different voices, get some different perspective. Most of these interviews have dealt with talking directly to a brewery owner or someone in brewery management. But I had a great conversation when I went to Philadelphia just a few weeks ago, met these guys, had a few drinks, talking about what about the next generation of craft beer consumers. We're talking those 21 to 30-year-olds right now. How is your brewery connecting to them? And Evan Bloom, Cole Decker, Richie Tevlin, they are a part of a organization called BrewedAt. And guys, I'm really excited to kind of talk about all this. And thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, happy to be here.
For having us.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Well, I'm looking at Evan, you're in my upper right, Richie, lower left, Cole, lower right. So let's go in that order. Little introduction, talk about, who you guys are and, kind of your little introduction about yourself.
Sure. So Evan started BrewedAt with Cole in 2022 and essentially looking to show craft beer in a different light for someone in a younger generation through social media. My background was supply chain. I worked corporate at Nestle for 3.5 years. I couldn't see myself doing that type of work 20, 30 years from now. And I wanted something more exciting, more fun. And we just me and my friends love going to different craft breweries. And that was something, even at our age, like right when we turned 21, we were going there and we were trying all these different beers. So it's like, how do we make something work? And then I was looking for a resource online that I thought really connected with us and with what I was looking for. And we really just didn't find anything. And that's kind of where BrewedAt came on and started. So that's where me and Cole came together.
And then Richie, you came on later and you have a little bit different perspective from all of this as well.
Yeah, so Cole and Evan are BrewedAt, and then I'm the host of the BrewedAt podcast, which is kind of like a separate formation that they have. So we get together, once a week, once every other week. We talk to brewers, social media influencers, bar owners in the Philadelphia area, Jersey, kind of extend it out a little bit, and just kind of get the feel of the industry, seeing what they did. I met them when I was the head brewer at Victory, and I was just kind of seeing what they were doing. It was very exciting. They were doing something that was not typical in the craft beer scene. They were going after high quality social media and people in their generation. And it just felt different and it felt real. So I just, lots of people come in and try to make content. But they were doing something special. So I just wanted to do something with them. I stayed connected with them. And then about 1.5 years later, we got together and we decided to launch this podcast, which that's what I'm a part of now. So we're doing it for about 6 months. It's going really well. We're having a lot of fun guests on. And it's really, Philadelphia craft beer scene is, noticing, which is very exciting. And then, we're just getting started. So feels good. I'm also just got approved 20 minutes ago for my brewing license. I'm now the owner of Space Cadet Brewing Company, which is
Rich, that's awesome,
basically newest brewery because it's only 20 minutes old. So
Well, congratulations, man. That's awesome to hear.
Thank you.
We'll have to talk about it. Well, Cole, anything that can top that, or would you like to introduce yourself?
I know, right? Like, where do I come in now? Yeah, so I handle a lot of the creative side of the business, photography. The VO is my voice, so if you're sick of it already, if you go to the page, you'll get more of it for sure. But yeah, I mean, with Evan, we just set out to kind of lower the barrier to entry for breweries in Philadelphia. We know it's kind of an intimidating space for some people. We had Love City on the podcast, and they were talking a little bit about that, for some people, it is more of an intimidating space, and there needs to be a more welcoming energy sometimes. And so we are really aiming to do that. There's a great community here in Philadelphia. There's so many great breweries, literally just in walking distance for me. And it's all local and it's great. So yeah, just aiming to really reach a hand out to people that are just turning 21 all the way up to 30, and showcasing just how exciting these breweries are, the experiences that you can have at these breweries. I think I always say it's kind of become like the town square of a lot of these neighborhoods. So yeah, just trying to bring people in, and really kind of make it cool, make it young, make it fun. Yeah, we've been doing it in a lot of different ways through the podcast, through our posts. We're always evolving. We're always trying to figure out different ways of reaching this demographic. So,
well, awesome. Let's talk about that demographic. I know this is kind of something that is near and dear to your guys' heart. Number one, you two are a part of it, Evan and Cole, and I think Richie, you're right on the tail end of what would, I guess, be considered Gen Z as well. And so it matters to you because you want to make sure that it's impacting the people that you know, friends of yours that you grew up with. What is Gen Z, and what matters to them?
So Gen Z is right now ages, I believe it's 26 to about 16. And then there's some wiggle room between like Gen Z and tail of Gen Z and beginning of millennial, kind of in that similar grouping. But Gen Z, and this is where I really think about it, in 3 years, over 50% of Gen Z is going to be 21 and able to drink. And that's really where I think the breweries will need to adjust in a certain standpoint to that, with just marketing and getting some stuff out there. And some of the things that I see that Gen Z really, really enjoys are similar to like just what we really enjoyed. Like I went to breweries and our friends went to breweries because I just loved how uniquely different each one was. Each brewery is so unique. Like it has a different artistic take from every standpoint in a brewery. And I'm not even just talking about the beer, just beer included, but we're saying flight paddles, the way that you decorate your actual building, your aesthetic, chairs, like anything. Like it really can be anything, and it's such a cool space for that reason because essentially you're walking into a different artist's home and then they're just welcoming you and you just get to experience that with them. And that's the type of thing that I'm always looking for in my breweries, that like I want to spend a couple hours here. And I know that's very similar with just me and all my friends when we go out, and everybody. I have a ton of younger cousins, and that's like I'm always like digging into like, what are you looking for? Tell me, please. And that's like certainly some of the stuff.
Are breweries, Cole? Are breweries doing it? Do you guys see them doing a good job of being able to find those types of drinkers or consumers and bring them in and make them feel welcome?
yeah, so I think Evan's done a ton of research into this and seeing the performance of a lot of these breweries' social media, from likes to engagement. And it does seem like it is pretty low. It is thrown on the back burner. They have a ton they have to do on their end. And then you have these new consumers coming in that want things fast as the internet. And it can definitely be overwhelming. I think there's ways that breweries can bring a lot of these cool aspects to the forefront. But I think, it's a heavy lift for social media. But it's just having that dedicated person that can bring these things to the forefront really is important for that generation. When you go to some of these like breweries accounts, it can just be like a photo of a beer without getting context, and it's just kind of thrown up there just to have presence, to check a box. And I think they're really going to have to rethink the way that they approach. So, Evan, I know you've done a ton of research. So, if you want to,
Yeah, like, and then just like that, and then from a taproom perspective, I think it goes twofold. I think it is certain places do a fantastic job, and then a lot of places, I would say majority don't focus on that. some of like, let's say my favorite spots would be like Love City, which we took you to. We checked it out. It's just a fun culture and vibe in there. Talia in Brooklyn is fantastic. Where else was I thinking? And then even a small place like Punch Buggy that we also went to. It's like that place also has got its like little culture there. But there are some places that I don't think focus in enough on making the actual experience to themselves. And then if you piggyback on what Cole's saying with Gen Z and social media, how are you even showing this new generation what your culture is when I would say many majority of brewery accounts are just posting a picture of their beer? Mm-hmm. I know we want to see like, even if you put a picture of your beer, but like show it behind a really sick background of like what your place looks like that itself just even speaks a little bit of volume to like, look at this cool spot we have. We're inviting. So
yeah, I think it also like it makes it feel premium, kind of what you were saying, Evan. I know Forest and Maine does a really good job at making their experience feel very premium. They're not doing like TikTok dances, but to get clicks. What they're doing is showing these like kind of like higher caliber level of photography, and even the videos. It's, I don't know if it took a ton of effort, but definitely like actually videoing it, like expensive equipment, but the creative effort was definitely there. You can tell through all of their posts. They just had a release of a new beer. I think it was like an anniversary. I can't remember. It was like 20th or 15th, but it was just candles in their bottles and someone just lighting the candles, making this like feel this like really big event. So yeah, there's multiple ways of approaching generation, and yeah, like Evan was saying, there's great examples, and there's not so great examples. So
nice. Richie, I mean, you've worked in the industry for quite a bit, and now you kind of get that perspective. Now, as you're going to be building your own brewery, I mean, how has being involved in this opened up your mind a little bit towards what you want to be going forward as a brewery?
It gave me good understanding, like before I got involved with them, like I didn't really understand how social media worked. I could look at something and be like, I like this, I don't like this, but I didn't understand what I liked, what I didn't like about it. And I think seeing them, what they're doing, the kind of all the background stuff, it's really, they have a deep understanding of the craft beer industry, and the craft beer industry is like very insular, which we're making an effort to like make that more open to people that aren't already in the craft beer industry. But I think the average, or the people that are kind of driving the trends in the industry they're good at spotting if things are, legitimate or, actual post from someone within the brewery, or if it's just kind of like a generic social media post by just someone that's like, even if it costs a lot of money and it's high quality, there's the Gen Z audience is like completely literate in social media and how computers work. And they grew up with this from the time that they were babies. They've had iPads in their hands, like they're able to kind of see through the BS. And these guys grew up in that generation, but then they're also seeing craft beer in this light where they understand how the industry works. So it's cool to kind of connect some of the older breweries, craft breweries that started, 30 years ago, and kind of bringing them into the new generation. It's a whole different way to, it's not just consumers, but it's a whole different way that how you're communicating, your brand to the public.
Absolutely. And you touched on, social media aspects. I think it's hard because myself as someone who's a younger Gen X, very much I'm on Facebook, and I understand for work that most of the people that own breweries or are, kind of connecting to our content, it's mostly Facebook, Twitter, X, kind of nothing. Instagram and TikTok when you're a brewery, those are so vital to be able to understand how to use, connect how to use. Is that how you guys are seeing it? Is that kind of the hierarchy? It's definitely those top two, and then the next two, or what else? What other platforms are important right now for breweries?
Yeah, so the way I see it, I do think from an Instagram presence, everybody has a very large Instagram presence. I think it's very much Instagram, Facebook. Um, it's Twitter, then right under, and then TikTok is very largely under prioritized.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of that hierarchy right now.
Okay.
But I do think certainly there's a large gap between TikTok, and that's a very big important thing. Obviously, there's some different laws passing right now, so you have to keep a watchful eye. But regardless of where TikTok goes, there's going to be another TikTok. So it's not even that's not the case in point. It's being able to be on a new medium and adapt to a new medium and quickly. But then I guess the thing I think with Instagram, which I think is certainly the strongest, because Instagram, then besides Facebook, everybody is on Instagram from every generation. With Facebook is just mostly Gen X and baby boomer generation. Instagram does have everybody. And through that, they're like Cole was saying, like checking a box of just having an Instagram. It just doesn't work like that in this day and age, especially with content being so hyper prioritized. And that's just, as then Richie also said, like that's the language of the future. Like being able to communicate these messages really well through videos and through just posts that aren't just checking the box is a large piece of where things are going, regardless of craft beer industry or not. Just that's just how the world is going to be going. So if the craft beer industry then wants to be a part of that, that's what we're trying to bring that attention to. How do we adapt and bring that focus to craft beer from this perspective?
And how has what a post even is nowadays changed in just the few years that you've been doing some research on this? It seems video is starting to become so much more important than what it was. Are you seeing that as that aspect? And what videos? Because I think a lot of people just think it's these long form or TV news reel type stuff. Explain some of the video concepts that a lot of people maybe don't get.
Sure. Yeah, for that fantastic question, because you're so right there. It's not just a post. There's a lot behind a post. And in from a industry standpoint right now, something that Meta is currently doing, they're working on using an AI algorithm to increase viewer watch time of Reels, all the short form videos, by 10%. And Gen Z currently is already on their phones 9 to 7.5 hours per day. So if you factor in 10% on that, it's a wild number. And it is all really being prioritized with Reels. Things like generic posts aren't getting much reach. Things like just the larger videos, especially the larger videos, getting barely any reach. It really is getting reach between 25 seconds and under types of videos, things that people would want to share with their friends, things that are funny, things that are like, hey, look at this cool thing, let's check it out. And I think something that the breweries have very much struggled with is putting out this message to say, like, this is our brewery, check out the little things that we do that make it so cool. Here are all the things that we do to make it so cool, rather than just the beer photo, because that's really not targeting anybody anymore. And if that's hitting your very target niche, then it's really where are you looking to express and just make that jump to this whole generation of next consumers that are going to be buying your beer.
Absolutely. And it seems important, especially like you said, when, half of Gen Z is underage right now, but the technology is going to move over these next 5 years. The thought processes of 5 years from now, when they reach that age of 21, is really important. Is it adding a hat, let's say a small brewery, you guys work with a lot of small breweries. Is it adding a hat to someone's job already, or is it you need to find someone to be able to do this? I mean, which category do you think is the most important right now for a brewery? Is to go out and do this, but it's going to become another part of your job that you're already brewing and, promoting and stuff like that? Or is it the need is there that you need to start bringing in people that can do these type of jobs?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a mix, right? Because do you have the budget to throw to a social media manager? Is there a person on staff who is pretty well versed in social media that might be able to handle it for a little bit more in the paycheck? So maybe someone younger. So it's a lot to ask a brewer and a business owner that's probably getting older to figure out these things. It is very intimidating for sure to jump into, but I think what's important is being able to bring out your authenticity through what everyone was saying, through these reels and these posts, and not almost not overthinking it, where you're doing something that your audience might think doesn't really align with the experiencing they're also having in the brewery. So authenticity is really important, and sometimes it does take a younger person to walk in with fresh eyes and to see what makes this brewery great and what things that we can highlight to bring people in the door without sacrificing your authenticity.
Something to really quickly piggyback off of there. I think it's one thing to have somebody run your social media, but the biggest thing is, if they're running it, do they understand your audience and the beer industry and your message? You might have somebody run your social media and you're like, great, that's out of my hands. But that might be doing nothing for you in a social media sense.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain floor that you need to get over as far as quality goes. But then after that, it becomes authenticity. There's this guy that we've been talking to bring on the podcast, this guy Beers with Alan. He has 150,000 followers. He gets 5,000 followers a month. I'm fairly certain this guy has no idea how social media works. He just posts still videos of himself talking, giving beer reviews, which, anyone can probably figure out, but he's just very consistent with it. But people are following him because he's so authentic. And it's he doesn't have high quality audio visual stuff. He's not creating these insane videos, but these Gen Z people are almost, they can see past, it's good enough and they can recognize that it's real. It's not some just AI created thing. It feels real, which is why people love craft beer, because it feels real.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's local. It's these people you're going you're face to face with on a weekend basis, maybe daily basis. But yeah, it is important, like what Richie said. As soon as you put an AI generated beer dude holding a beer photo with 6 fingers, you're putting a gap there where it does feel like it's just we're just trying to push this to you for you to come in our door. If you need, I think with Alan there is a ton of authenticity there. The equipment isn't super sophisticated, and there is a consistency there, and he does know what his brand is. So understanding your brand is also very important. I think Human Robot has a really, really great brand, and they cater to it super, super well. I know I already mentioned Force and Main. They also cater to their brand really well, and people take to it. It's not what you would traditionally think would explode with views on social media, but people believe in what they're doing, and they're consistent with their quality. If they put an AI generated photo on there, I think a lot of their fans would be pretty confused and frustrated. So yeah, like what Richie was saying, and just overall authenticity is important. You don't need a crazy amount of equipment. It's just kind of diving in and understanding your brand first, and then figuring out how to bring that to the consumer base.
Very nice. Well, and before you said, I was going to say it leads into exactly what you guys are as BrewedAt. Why did you want to start this company? I know, Evan, you've told this story before to me, and I know it's on your podcast about, and you and Cole have been friends for a long time. But why did you start, and how have you guys started helping breweries in the Philadelphia area?
Yeah. So we started by, like I mentioned, just really wanting a general resource through social media that highlights like some of the coolest stuff happening in the breweries. There are 120 breweries in a 30-mile radius of Philadelphia itself, which is wild. And my question to people is, okay, so that's the number. How many of those do you know? And it's usually like 5.
Yeah.
And like there's a spot for people wanting to be just the neighborhood bar and not moving away, but then I would say a lot want to just be more than that in that sense. And I couldn't find that through social media and just through my neighborhood. And what we're looking to build is this, I like to say Barstool-esque with a hard asterisk on like keeping it craft beer, but bringing this cool craft beer culture into social media in a way that people can identify with the coolest things happening at all these locations. Because like we just went to the Sly Fox goat races. Who would think that you race goats at a beer festival? And then I'm going to a music festival, beer fest coming up, and then Log Jammin's coming in, who's very hyper, like best loggers in the freaking country. So there's all these different things that, like I just mentioned, Goat Fest. That's not necessarily beer, but you can highlight goats and you could just say that's something that's really fun. Why don't we just go for that?
Mhm.
And that's a way to bring certain people in. And the way that we've been helping these breweries is working behind the scenes with them on different marketing strategies, social media, all this promotion. As we grow our brand, a lot of what I see is we just grow all the brands that are around us and with us. And then we're looking to then partner with a lot of these brands that want to get like super fun marketing like tactics in there, or just like try some really fun things. And that kind of brings us into like what our event was, and essentially sending people to tap rooms in different unique ways, and really just work it from a different standpoint that probably hasn't been seen before, as we didn't necessarily come from the craft industry to start. And I think that brings a lot of value into this industry as we're trying to showcase what could be done and like just what fun ways you can move craft beer.
Yeah, well, and I was going to ask you, tell me how Crafted in Philly is going and what it is that, I got a chance to do it with you guys. It was cool. I'm sure it's still on my phone.
Yeah.
Very, very neat way. I mean, give the explanation. I know you guys have loved talking about this and sharing with the people where you're at.
Yeah, I can take that one, Ev. So in the beginning of BrewedAt, the goal, and still is the goal, it was to get people in the doors of these breweries and to experience it themselves. So we kind of just brainstormed, well, how can we do that at a pretty low cost? So with all of the brewery partners that we've worked with over the past 2 years, we had some conversations with them. And the idea is not like a beer fest that you would traditionally go to, where you're walking down a street, there's a ton of tents, and a lot of the times you're just getting your beers, and after 3 or 4, you're kind of forgetting the breweries that you got the beer from. Well, what if we can kind of shift it where people are actually going into the breweries, experiencing how unique they all are to each other, not just in flavor, but in atmosphere and the people you'll meet. And it's been working out really well. We were just at a night market. It was like this big event, and we were handing out cards, and we saw a guy that worked at Yards, which is a brewery right down the street. And we were like, how's it going? He's like, yeah, we've had a ton of people walk in and scan. And that's all we're asking for is get people to experience how great the craft beer scene is in Philadelphia and how unique it is. So yeah, that was the idea.
Yeah,
So,
and it was fun. We got a chance to go to 3 breweries. Evan, have you dried off yet? I know it was raining that day.
You saw me at a state. I was like, I was a little miserable.
I actually I only brought a pair of sandals with me, so we're walking in puddles and stuff. Walking to the different breweries, and I don't think those things dried out until I got to Pittsburgh 2 days later. I was still like mushy, wet, like raw leather. So it was fantastic. You could turn the heat on every time we're in the car just to try to get my feet to dry off. So, but it was a fantastic idea. I think I like that you guys do it. It was a great chance to be able to walk through. We were in the Northern Liberties area of Philly and get to see some of these breweries in action. It's like a bar crawl, but it's a lot more sophisticated, I guess. You be able to go in, show a QR code. It's the first beer is free, right? Or $1 off. I can't remember what and it was like a smaller bar, not a flight size, but like a little smaller, good sample size. And then give people the opportunity to be able to stick around at that spot and have some more or continue on. How many breweries are on this thing right now?
So on this, there are 11.
Okay.
We have 11 Philly breweries. I could try to rattle some of them off, but I'm not going to remember all of them on the top of my head. So we'll not. But
where I'll run the logo. And
we could definitely do that.
I've named all of them so many times yesterday that people were like, well, can you name all of them? And I'm like, I can if you want. So if you're in the Philadelphia area, it's 11 breweries. It's $35, pretty good deal. I think it comes out to like $3 a beer if you go to all 11.
6 or 7.
Yeah,
and over the course of a few months, not like it's a 1 week deal or something like that too.
Yeah, exactly. And that was another big thing is we wanted people to take it at their own pace. On like a beer fest, this goes for 2 months. We're already about a month in. It ends at the end of June.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we wanted people to take it at their own pace. 11 breweries is a lot to do in a day. We don't recommend it. And also some of the breweries are a little bit of a drive. Still in the Philadelphia area. But yeah, we want people to game plan how they want to tackle all 11.
Yeah. Well, it's a great idea. I know I'm really happy that I got a chance to meet you guys and talk about it. I think I love your aspects of how you approach things, because I think a lot of times people in beer marketing are understanding what's around them. And for you, that's a completely different thing than that I would think about. So it's good to be challenged. I'm glad, and I hope that breweries that are watching this, take a look at, are we doing something for everyone? Because again, there are ways to be able to create posts for 3 different generations and run those in the same week. And it could be the exact same beer event release and have different aspects of doing it. So this is just, it's not saying change your marketing to completely like this. It's here's an aspect that you might be missing. So
definitely.
Well, cool. Well, I appreciate it. You guys have been awesome. I wish you the best of luck. And the cool thing is, with a name like BrewedAt, you can throw a city name in right after it, and you could be anywhere and everywhere. So I think it was a smart idea on that aspect as well, to be able to name that. You guys didn't call yourself BrewedAt Philly, just BrewedAt, because I know, Evan, you're in New York, right? So you guys are looking to do this type of thing and want to see it grow like that.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, Richie, good luck with the build out. Give me a rundown. Give me an elevator pitch of what the brewery is going to be like.
Well, I'm starting off like essentially a gypsy brewery. I'm bootstrapping this, so I'm gonna have somebody else, a couple friends in the area, brew beer for me. Then I'll either self-distribute or have a wholesaler sell my beer. Next step would be open up a tap room somewhere, get some cash flowing in, some real cash, not just, wholesale distribution, and then open up a production facility somewhere. So lots of steps going on, but like this is literally the first step. I am officially started, and we'll get going from here.
Well, you got a lot of work ahead of you. I know how much fun it is. It's fun once it's done, but the stress level keeps going up like this until you start seeing it. But you have experience to it. You have the marketing savvy with these guys, and being able to lean on them. I think you have a lot of great options ahead for you. So best of luck there.
Thank you.
Thanks. Well, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for talking with us. I hopefully get some good pointers that people are just thinking about. I think there's a lot of stuff that you guys have to say that matters. And for people in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Baltimore to New York area, check these guys out. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, John.
Don't forget, you can always check on brewermag.com. You can also see us on YouTube and listen to us on Spotify. And don't forget daily updates on Facebook, Instagram, and X. I'm Executive Editor John Seacott for BrewerMagazine.com.